Hello there, Jim Dowson. First time ever live. But I want to speak today about the worldwide crisis with this coronavirus or Corvin-19, whatever they're now calling it. And I want to talk about the worldwide lockdowns, especially to our American friends. So come and join me on the Templar Report and I'll keep you right on a lot of things. Hello there, Jim Dowson, guest presenter, Templar Report. In extraordinary circumstances, I'm coming to you live. As you can see, I'm a bit wet. I was out in the rain, soaked to the skin, and very strange because I was walking through deserted towns that are normally bustling. Totally deserted, nobody about. You think the Martians had landed and took away the people. Well, as you know, we called it right. Yesterday we sent out an email saying that the Houston conference would be pulled because the president had asked for any groups over 50 to reconsider, which we did because we're good, decent citizens. And we pulled the conference yesterday. Today, the news from Houston is that the local authorities in Houston have banned all sorts of gatherings anyway. So we were right to pull it when we did. So that's that. Now, we don't really know how we're going to do it. I mean, the manager of the hotel phoned me up and spoke to me today, and I suddenly realised that I think the Americans are not being told everything, because he was like very nonchalant. He says, "Don't worry about it, we can reschedule the conference in 2 weeks' time." I said, are you for real? Are you real? Do you understand what's happening worldwide? And he had no idea. Now, he's a very intelligent head of banqueting, so I would imagine he's fairly switched on with what's going on in the world. But no, he had no idea. Let me just tell you what's happening, especially our American friends, and I want to welcome Americans, the fellow Brits, the Irish, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders, and anybody else, South Africans. I always forget the South Africans and the Rhodesians. Let's not forget the Rhodesians. Anybody who's watching this across the world, let me explain very carefully what's happening. The whole of Europe is in lockdown. Some countries like Spain, Italy, have police and army patrolling the streets. Nobody's allowed out. People are confined to their homes. And we've been told that that's going to last at least 4 months. Could last a year. I'm not joking. I'm being serious. Now, the wee Brits, like the Americans, are made of stronger stuff than most of the cheese-eating surrender monkeys over the border, over the channel. So we just said, well, just let it be, it'll be okay. But for some reason or other, our government's also got spooked now. I think it's pressure from the lefties and the liberals and the snowflakes. And they've shut everything down. And the government just half an hour ago has announced a $350 billion, that's about $500 billion package to help businesses. Because all the airlines in this country have been grounded. This is like a 9/11, which is going to last 6 months. So 500,000 people involved in the avionics, whether it be ground crews, flight crews, and everybody else who's involved in that industry, are basically out of work. It's about 500,000 people. Can you imagine it? Now the hotels and pubs, conference centres, all that kind of stuff, the hospitality industry has now been closed. There's 3 million people involved in that. Maybe by this time next week, they also will be claiming welfare. That's what's coming to America. You're a couple of weeks behind Europe on all this stuff. That's what's coming. Prepare yourself for that. This guy I spoke to today in the hotel had no idea. He thought 2 weeks it'll all be over and done with. It won't be over and done with. So what's going on? I don't really know, because this virus, yeah, it's very virulent. It kills some people, but it's not going to kill millions and millions of people in Britain or America. It seems to be targeting the old people and taking a toll on them. But even at that, people over 80 who contract it have got like an 85% survival rate. So it's not the bubonic plague or the Black Death sweeping across the world. But I've got to say, there's something going on. Because something that kills that amount of people, which is significant but not disastrous, why would you take to these measures? Because at the end of this, every single economy in the Western world will be utterly, utterly ruined, finished. This is like the 1929 stock market crash. It's insane. It really is insane. And who knows? We'll probably end up with martial law or something. And I really don't understand why they're doing it. Is it the case that now, at last, the snowflake generation are in charge of the actual levers of power, and they're so wacko, so freaky, so feminist, so effeminate, that they've just lost the plot. They've just lost their courage and collapsed. Because look how they scream and roar when Mr. Trump got elected, President Trump got elected. Do you remember thousands of university lecturers and well-paid civil servants and college professors were sitting on the pavement, on the concrete, screaming, "Ah!" because President Trump got elected. Do you remember that? So these are the people now who are running our countries. It's not Douglas MacArthur or Winston Churchill or Maggie Thatcher or Ronald Reagan. It's not people with spines. It's crackpots who are terrified of the polar ice caps melting. A few years ago we were getting told by Gore that there was a new ice age coming. Then we were told, no, the ice cap's melting. Now we're told the Amazon rainforest last year, if it burnt down, we'd all die because we'd have no air to breathe. And now we're getting told by these environmentalist lunatics that we've got 10 years to live if we don't stop don't stop using motor vehicles. So they're crazy. These people are absolutely crazy. But those things they were all frightened of were all fake. They were all false. They didn't exist. Now they've got something real, like a flu virus, which is going to kill, in Britain, a couple of 100,000 people. Which has happened lots and lots and lots of times before with flu viruses. Not for a while, not since the 70s. But we've had all this before. But now these people who don't know that, because they weren't born in the early 70s, they were only born maybe in the 80s, they're crackpots. So if they're that terrified of trees being chopped down in Borneo, and they get themselves in a state where they're lying in the street crying in front of the TV cameras, now when you give them a bug saying, this could kill you, they have lost their minds. And that's all I can think was happening. So we've actually got the psychotic, mentally ill Liberals, and we all know they're psychotic and mentally ill, but they're running our countries, and they're the people pressing the buttons, and they've pressed the panic button, and now there could be a panic, there could be a meltdown, there could be serious things. So I must apologise because I've just forgot something very important. Happy St. Patrick's Day. After all that, I forgot all about it. All the St. Patrick's Day parades all over the world have been cancelled. But I can tell you this, and I am a Northern Irish, an Ulster Scot or a Scotch-Irish Protestant Presbyterian, and I can't show it because it seemingly interferes with the camera. I walked down this street in a very Protestant district with a huge green St. Patrick's hat on and a big Erin Go Bra flag. And that's to all my people of Irish ancestry, whether you be Scotch-Irish or Gaelic Irish, Catholic, Protestant, dissenter, it makes no difference. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And again, a great hero for us to follow. And he went through rougher times than this, so take courage, my friend. But I was not going to let the remembrance of St. Patrick pass without being marked. So I took my life in my hand, because in these parts where I live, it's not too popular to walk down the street covered in green. But I did it. I'm still alive. The good Lord kept his hand upon me. I think we can show you this. Wait a minute. Can we get this up, actually? Yeah, I've got a techie guy working to show you the picture. So that's where we are. Everyone's went mad. But what I fear for this is it's very tragic to see the young people flooding the shops to buy everything. Now, I want to tell you this as well, America, and the people in Britain. We've seen mass buying, panic buying. I've been in the shops the last few days, and the shops are stripped bare. And the government kept saying, "Oh, can we see it? Ah, there we are, there I am." And yeah, I've been walking down the street with my Erin Go Bra, iron forever, in the middle of that town. I'm quite sure tonight I might get my house burnt to the ground or a bullet fired at me, but no. St. Patrick was honoured in this town, in this wee part of Ireland, in a corner of Ireland today, by me. And I apologise to nobody for it. So, there we go. God save Ireland, that's what we need. God save America, God save Britain, God save us all. But anyway, panic buying. The government and the supermarket bosses were saying, don't worry about it, we've got the resources, we can stock the shelves. They're lying. One boss of the supermarkets has now come out and admitted that they're lying. Because since the 1980s, All industries worked on an American system called just-in-time warehousing, which means you don't keep huge stocks. They organise it so just when those shelves clear, new supplies come into the warehouse that are then sent out just in time to fill them again. So there's no backlog, there's no 3 weeks worth of provisions in the warehouse that we had in the 1950s, 60s, 70s. In the 80s that was all done away with by these mad, crazed, greedy, insane capitalists. I mean, I don't mean bad capitalists, I mean these gangsters. And this is what's going on now. Just have a wee look at what we're looking at here. I'll see if we can bring a fight in Paris, I think, or maybe Germany. This is immigrants, by the way. Paris. This is newcomers in rituals coming in the back of a supermarket and attacking the staff. You see, attacking people. Not to queue up and buy whatever meagre rations are left on the shelves. No. They just go around the back, kick the doors in, and they're in the back warehouse. But, as you can see, there's nothing in the warehouse for them to steal anyway. So they're wasting their time. But this, my friend, is the start of it. This is the start of it. And that's what really worries me. So I want to just analyse this. Okay. The supermarkets in this country have been stripped bare. There's nothing in them. Okay, sorry about that. So let me tell you what's happening. The supermarkets in this country are stripped bare. And I'm in Ireland at the moment, and Irish people are far more civilised and decent and community-minded than the English. And even they're going crazy and just grabbing everything. There's been some provision, there's been some limitations now put on how many things you can buy. But the supermarkets are stripped bare. The government's been saying, don't worry, we can fill it. One of the bosses of the main supermarket is saying, no, we can't. Because, again, they have this just-in-time mentality, so they don't need to keep stock. So it would be okay if it was only one country in lockdown, other countries could feed into them. The whole of the the whole of the world is in lockdown. All the countries in Europe are locked down. Nothing is moving. No trucks, nothing. No farm produce, nothing. Factories are locked down. Workers have been told to go home. Right? Nobody's making anything. The Far East, China, Korea, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, the Arab countries, we're all in lockdown. America don't know this yet. The people in America still think, it'll be okay. We thought this a week ago. By the end of this week, the whole world will be locked down. Nobody will be moving anywhere. And people will be very lucky if they can still go to their jobs. Because in most countries in the world now, you can't even leave the house to go to your job. You're quarantined to your house. Doesn't matter if you've got it or not. You're not allowed on the street. That's what's happening. But it's also tragic when you see young people and what they're buying. My mother and father were adults during the war. My mother worked in a munitions factory and there was bombs dropping in it every 2 weeks from the Luftwaffe. My father was on when he was just before he was old enough to join up. He was on the roof of a Spitfire factory as a fire watcher. So he'd work all day, then come home and sleep up on the roof to watch out for fires and incendiaries. And then the next year he joined up, put the uniform on, and went off to fight the Nazis. So they were a different generation. So in the 70s, Britain went through a terrible time with socialists. And for 3 winters, we'd only a couple of hours a day's electricity. Britain, yeah, it's hard to believe, but I lived through it, 1974, 5, 6. And then we had all sorts of strikes, so we'd no electricity, we'd no power, we'd no coal, we'd no fuel, we'd no petrol or gasoline. We'd nothing like that. And it lasted about 3 years. It was terrible. But as a kid, I got through it because there was no panic. My mum and dad lived through the war, and they were born in the 20s and lived through the Great Depression. They lost siblings with malnutrition. They could make a dinner out of a lump of wood. So there was no panic. There was no aggravation. No problem. However, you look at young people now. I watch them in Walmart and places like that. They're buying candy. They may have to hold up for 4 or 5 months with no supplies. They're buying candy bars. They're buying packets of cup of soup. Bachelor's cup of soup. Or Campbell's. I took precautions the other day. Went down to one of these Asian cash and carries. Bought a couple of bags of rice. A couple of bags of flour. Because you can make bread. 10 gallons of cooking oil. A few gallons of, or a few kilos of butter, such and such. High value protein stuff and bread, so I can make bread. And I live in the country, I can make soup. I mean, I can make you a gallon of soup for $1. No problem, because my grandmother told me and showed me how to make various types of soup. So I'm buying split peas, barley, all this good stuff that young people don't even know what it is. They don't even know what the thing is. Unless it's sprinkled on a pizza or comes out of McDonald's. They don't know what it is. So they're buying all this crazy stuff that'll last them about 4 days and give them a sugar crash, and that'll be the end of them. So I'm quite happy. I've got all this stuff. My daughter lives with me. We've got a load of kids up there. There's 9 people to feed. But it took me less than a couple of hours to get enough stuff in. It'll do me about 4 months. I have a well at the top of the garden. I have cast iron stoves where I can cook things. Because if the power goes out, and there's a good possibility the power could go out, how do you cook in? How do you keep warm? I know most people in America and other countries have these stoves and things like that, but in Britain nobody has these things. Nobody has any way of cooking things. We don't even have fireplaces in our houses. So I don't know how people are going to cook things. How they're going to boil water. I really don't know. But that's how bad it is, because remember, you can go months without food. Literally. You can go about 4 days without water, then you're dead. Or your brain will kick in and you'll go and drink anything. You'll drink a muddy puddle. Then you'll be dead anyway. Take a wee bit longer, but you'll be dead. So it really is that serious. And I warned you a few weeks ago in America, because we haven't got any here, but arm yourself, because what you see in there with that supermarket with people rioting, you wait to see what happens in London, England, and in Dublin, Ireland, and Paris, France, and Berlin, Germany. You wait to see, within a week, there will be riots like you have never seen the like of. There'll be blood in the streets. And men are going to have to step up to the mark. I'm just in from the supermarket, I'm all wet. I was getting some water, believe it or not. I don't know why you need to buy water in Ireland. It's rather stupid, because I could open my mouth and be drowned in Ireland, to be honest with you. It's that wet. It's a wretched country for rain. But there's a girl in there who doesn't like me, because she's a mad lefty and she's studying law, specialising in male privilege and male abuse and rape. You can imagine. She's as lefty as you can ever get, so she hates my guts. And she said, this is all terrible. I want to join the EU again. I said, listen, my dear, you'll be very lucky if there's a Britain left at the end of this. However, it gets much worse. Because if this crisis pans out the way I think it's going to pan out, there'll be guys like me and guys like you running a show again. And she said, I'd kill myself. You might not have to, love. You might not have to. So, things are going to change. Things are going to change. But in the meantime, what we're going to do in the Templar Report, what I'm going to do, what the Templars are going to do, is we're going to do a daily broadcast. A daily broadcast. And on Sunday, we're trying to put together a half-hour religious Christian service to try and encourage people, because you will, I can tell you, in every single country in the world, the over 75s are on lockdown. They're not allowed out of the house. They're being put on lockdown. So I know a lot of elderly people are out there, and some of your relatives and whatnot, and it's very dangerous to go and visit them because you might infect them. So we really need to be looking after those who are alone, those who are ill, those who are infirm. It's a Christian duty to do that. Yeah, we might have to go and shoot the looters as well. Yep, get it. We can do that. But let's not forget the people who need our love, who need our attention, who need our concern. And we don't want to leave them without anything. So I want to make sure this broadcast is going all across the world. I know it is. So at a certain time, we haven't worked it all out yet. But you'll be told at a certain time, every single day, me or somebody else from the Templars will be on air, and we'll be talking to you for roughly about half an hour. And we'll try and get the church service out on Sunday because look, this shows you how weak and feeble we really are. A tiny virus that the human eye cannot even see has closed down the world. How arrogant are we as human beings? Well, we think that we can control the climate, that we can control ice caps, that we can control the weather. How stupid, how arrogant, how imbecilic. Well, now these people who worry about all these things have got something really to worry about. And they're going to watch their grandmother, their grandfather, or their father or their mother dying. For the first time in their life, they're going to be exposed to mortality and the frailty of human life. And maybe, just maybe, that frailty and that reality check might bring them back to God. Bring them back to this book. It'd be very easy for us to stand at the side and go, nah, we told you, wouldn't it? I'd quite like it. But we must be there to encourage them. Because they've been brainwashed by the mainstream media since the day they were born. So people will start wavering. People will start cracking. We won't, because we're Christians. They won't waver, but they will waver. And they're beginning to have a meltdown. Just look outside. They're freaking out. They're running about with masks. They're running about with hand sanitizer. They're having a meltdown. They'll turn on each other and it'll all get ugly. We have to preach the gospel to them. We have to tell them of the faith of our fathers, that the blood of Christ was sacrificed in a tree 2,000 years ago at that place called Golgotha. And any man who calls upon the name of the Lord is no longer subject to the terrors of a tiny bug virus that we can't even see. Because remember, it tells us this in Romans, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Period. Now, does that mean you'll be saved from getting the virus and dying? No, but it means you'll be saved eternally, and that's far more important. Because look, I don't know what's wrong with these lefties. They're all terrified. They don't want to die. And let's face it, if you're a lefty, a godless lefty who supported abortion, who supported the most perverted sexual deviancies, I'd be afraid to die. But we're Christians. We have followed the path. We have run the race. Nowhere does it say we have to win the race. We have to run the race. So if you call out, Christ will save you. Might not save you from the virus, might not save you from persecution, might not save you from death and destruction, but he'll save you eternally. And that's really all that matters, because it's appointed unto man to die once. That's it, you die. You're born and you die. Everything else in between is a bit of a circus that I haven't really fathomed it out, to be honest with you. I'm not going to pontificate. I'm not Joel Osteen or some of these other creatures that are on the television who will be trying to profit. In fact, I seen that, who's that boy in America, that wretched Kenneth Copeland the other day. See that fella? That boy is reprehensible. He was saying to people he could cure them of the coronavirus. Just, touch the screen with your hand and give me your credit card details. These people are the worst and the lowest form of life. They are pond life. So, none of your people are going to be fooled by them, but it's just a shame that anybody's fooled by such reprobates. But no, I won't tell you that message. This is going to be a hard slog over the next few months. Over the Western world, several million people are going to die. That's it, they're going to die. We're going to lose several million people. And there's nothing we can do about it. We'll just have to hope and pray that our loved ones who will die are in the Lord. Do they know the Lord? Do they know Jesus as their Saviour? Do they know the truth? Are they kitted out? Are they fitted out for eternity? If they're not, we need to speak to them. And we need to urge them. We need to exalt them to flee to Christ, to seek ye the Lord while he may be found. And while we're at it, we maybe have to look in the mirror at ourselves. Do we know the Lord? Are we right with God? Because when those curtains come down and your eyes close in darkness, the next thing you'll see will either be very bright or very dark. So that's what it is. I mean, I'm not here to cheer you up. If you think the Templars are going to come out and do an entertainment programme for half an hour every day to make you feel jolly and dance about the house, you picked the wrong guy and the wrong organisation. But at the same time, rejoice, because if you're in the Lord and you're following the faith of your fathers and you're a serious person about Jesus Christ and the true faith, the one true faith, Muhammad is dead. Buddha is dead. Confucius is dead. But Jesus is alive. And that's a reality that no other religion in the world can say that they worship a living God. We do. We worship a living Saviour. And that's wonderful. So don't get depressed. But what we have to do is prepare. So get some sensible food in. Get some sensible supplies in. You'll know what you need depending on the size of your family. And remember your neighbours. Remember the people who are on their own, the infirm, the weak. It doesn't matter if they're Christians, they're no Christians. The Bible doesn't say go and help people as long as they're the same as you. Remember, keep your love and your respect and your dignity and your compassion and your humanity all through this. But if there's looters and robbers and rapists about, shoot them. And that's it. Help the good people, kill the bad people if they need killed, and there's no law enforcement officers to take care of them. Defend yourself. So that's what we've got to do. This is all new to me. It's all new to our techie team, so bear with us. We know it's not as slick as Alex Jones, but then again, I'm not a lying, conniving con artist who wants to sell penis pills to you. So bear with us. We'll get this right. We will get it done. And I need you to do this. This is really, really, really important. Like the video. Yeah. Click subscribe. Press the bell. And comment below. It's really, really important, because then other people get to know about this. And I think it's important that your circle of friends join us every day for half an hour that we go through this. And you can tell I'm a boomer. Young people, is that why I'm a boomer? Yes, I'm a boomer. I've been called far worse, I can assure you. But I'm a boomer because I have no idea what this even means. But like the video, click subscribe, press the bell, comment below. It's written in huge letters on pieces of paper on the wall, so I don't forget it. And I still do it. So that's it. I'm sure some people watching this, as the weeks and months go by, may succumb to this. dear friends, I might succumb to this. But as long as the good Lord gives me breath in my lungs and health, just enough to even be propped up in this chair, I promise you right now, I will not desert you. I'll be here at my post. And if one day I'm not at my post, it's because I'll be dead. But I'll be here every step of the way. I'm quite sure some people watching this won't be with us when this lifts. So prepare ourselves for the worst. Keep close to God. And we'll get through this. We will get through this. We'll get through lots of things in the past. So just remember, this is no joke. This is serious. We have to prepare for it and prepare ourselves mentally, physically and spiritually. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing, on the special coronavirus pandemic report. And remember, until then, stick close to God. You won't go far wrong. God bless you.
The threat is real, and we are on the front line. In a world of misinformation and attacks from the left and mainstream media, censorship, deplatforming, it is time to call out the fake news and bring you the truth. We are the Knights Templar. Visit our website and join today. We are the Resistance. Deus Vult.